So in this clip, we are going to see an Israeli spokesperson completely fall apart and struggle to answer a question when posed one simple question. As usual, let's watch the clip in full and then give you guys my thoughts towards the end.
Can I ask you what threat was posed by the 6 Palestinians, 6 Gazans, shot dead by the IDF the other day, just as the ceasefire agreement came into place?
That incident happened. Our troops had withdrawn to what's called the yellow line. They advanced towards our troops. Warning shots were fired. Verbal warnings were given first. Warning shots were fired towards them. They kept on advancing towards our troops. And for that reason, our troops, in order to safeguard their own safety, had to open fire. But I can guarantee you that every measure was taken to ensure that they were well aware that they were posing a threat to our troops. There are very, very clear lines now about where our troops have withdrawn.
What threat did they pose? If there is evidence for a threat being posed, what threat did they pose? Did they have weapons on them? I don't know, bombs, whatever. What threat did they pose?
They posed a threat to the lives of our people, of our soldiers.
In what way, Mr. Mencer?
915 of our soldiers
I know.
in this war, and you're asking me what threat Gazans posed to them. And I think that's slightly naive.
But did they have weapons on them? I mean, if they're wandering around with weapons, I can understand that that's
closing in. If there are people closing in on our soldiers and they're told not to proceed and they continue to proceed in a threatening manner, the duty of Israel's soldiers and of our commanders is to defend ourselves, and that's precisely what has happened. Let's not forget what Hamas are doing right now on the streets. Hamas haven't changed. They're still the same jihadis. They haven't turned into Norwegian peacemakers. They are a jihadi organization with the same objectives they had at the start of this war. So our eyes are wide open about what this jihadi organization is.
Understood.
And when they approach our troops, we will defend ourselves.
You talked about the various meetings you've been in recently, President Trump, with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Are you looking forward to meeting Tommy Robinson as he arrives in Israel? He arrived yesterday, I think.
The Prime Minister has no plans to meet with Tommy Robinson. Tommy was invited by Minister in the government, Minister Shickley. Look, I think this is a British issue rather than an Israeli issue. Tommy is the one that got hundreds of thousands of people on the streets of the UK. Tommy is the one that even 1 million people, I saw certain reports on the streets of the UK. So this is not an issue for Israel. This is an issue for the UK.
But why is he invited?
Well, you'll have to ask Minister Shickley that question. He wasn't invited by the Prime Minister.
No, he's a diaspora affairs minister. You're a spokesperson for the Israeli government in the office of the Prime Minister.
I am.
Is that a decision that this minister has made sort of apropos of nothing or sort of unilaterally? Why is the government of Israel extending an invitation to Tommy Robinson?
This Minister Shickley is the person you should address those comments to, because Minister Shickley invited him.
Right.
Because of the real issue we have with Islamic extremism on the streets of the UK, who are supporting Hamas. That's the real issue which is happening here. And it's a British issue. It's not an Israeli issue. We're on the front line of fighting this form of barbarism.
Yes.
And we're fighting your battle too, Tom.
The Board of Deputies of British Jews and Jewish Leadership Council issued a statement saying Tommy Robinson is a thug who represents the very worst of Britain. Do you agree with that?
Look, what we know right here in Israel is that this is a global struggle between barbarism and civilization, between medieval fanaticism and modern freedom, and Israel stands on the very front line. We are the dam holding back a flood of extremism, and when we fight this extremism, we are defending not only ourselves, but the free world. But if you want further comment about the visit of Tommy, then you should speak to Minister Shickley.
Okay, but you disagree, or you agree with the British, the Board of Deputies of British Jews, or is a sort of no comment situation?
I don't speak on their behalf. They can speak on their own behalf. I speak on behalf of the Prime Minister's office.
Let me ask you then about.
So it's really interesting when you hear a lot of, especially Israel spokespeople, when you hear them. You see, when they believe that they've got something to say and they believe that they know what they're talking about, you see a lot of the times they're confident, they're even a little bit arrogant in their responses of how it is that they can be, a lot of the time. But you see, the moment a question's asked where they know they're about to tell some untruths or they're about to spread some mis or disinformation, you can always see it. You can always see it because they stutter, they are, they're not quite sure about what it is that they're going to say. And that's exactly what it is that just took place. Now, that's David Mencer, and he is, like I said, an Israeli spokesperson. Now, a little bit of research on David Mencer. This is a guy who routinely has, throughout this genocide that took place within Gaza, this is someone who's been on the airwaves consistently going around and doing, obviously, Israel's bidding and spreading disinformation and misinformation. Let me just run through and give you guys some a bit of an understanding about David Mencer, but not just hear about him, about Israel and some of the tactics that it is that they use to try and change the narrative across the world. Because let's just have it like this. When it comes to the narrative of the genocide that's took place within Gaza, it's safe to say that Israel have lost that war in terms of the narrative. They've lost it. Everybody knows the truth. Everybody knows it. But Israel are still out here. That's the reason why the Israeli government are paying influencers $7,000 per post to be able to try and shift the narrative, but it's not happening. So Mencer dismissed Amnesty International's genocide allegations as fake news without addressing documented evidence of civilian targeting. This is something that we've seen consistently over this genocide. You know, we've seen evidence that have completely debunked what it is that Israel and people from the Israeli government have said, but they'll still come on airwaves and they'll still deny it and say, no, that isn't the case. That's not what happened. This is actually what happened. Multiple times we've seen examples of that. Mencer claimed that the IDF did not fire on civilians at aid distribution sites in Rafah, but no evidence was released to support his claim, and video that was provided was from a different location. Another example of what it is that a lot of these people and a lot of the spokespeople for Israel will do. So he justified civilian casualties by labeling all reports as Hamas propaganda, while independent investigations found discrepancies in Israeli accounts. So what's interesting about that is that this is their go-to line for everything. Anytime that you say something that could discredit Israel, it's either Hamas propaganda or you're an anti-Semite. It's anti-Semitic to say anything. This is unfortunately what it is that happens. Let's talk a little bit about some Israeli officials. Israeli officials released fabricated and internal Hamas documents alleging refusal of ceasefires. These were later revealed as forgeries by aides to Netanyahu. Okay? Like, these are the individuals that it is that we're dealing with. So when someone like a David Mencer comes on British radio, and spreads propaganda and spreads lies on Israel's behalf, there's an understanding why a lot of people won't believe what it is that himself and his government has to say. Because this is someone that we've routinely seen on the internet completely have a meltdown, completely lose his mind, get angry, and not be able to control his emotions. This is what it is that we've routinely seen time and time again. And this is just another example. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this clip in the comment section down below. And while you guys are down there, do me a massive favor, hit the thumbs up button and also hit that subscribe button as well. We're steadily approaching 75,000 subscribers, and I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.